Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Conversations with an Investor. I'm joined this week by returning guest Dave Callanan, and we're going to find out what happened and why his goals were a little out of whack, shall we say. So instead of doing this episode in 4 years' time, we're doing it 3 months later. So let's find out how things panned out since the last time he was on the show. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So you're back in the hot seat?
Back in the hot seat, George.
You're back here already?
Back here already.
It was supposed to be 4 years later.
Yeah.
You'd have 20. You would say you would have 20 by the time you're 40. What happened since then?
We left here that day and...
How long's it been?
Is it 4 months? Not even, is it? 3 months.
Not even 3 months.
Yeah. At the start of February I was here, so... What's that? 3 months.
In May.
Yeah, 3 months. 3 months, yeah.
Right, so it was supposed to be 4 years later and we're here 3 months
later. Yeah.
What's happened?
So we left here that day. We were going out to look at a property we were just after buying out in Roxbury. Went out there, looked around, seen the house, like, Jesus, this is a really nice spot. In the van, driving down the road, and you were like, yeah, I'm going to sell it for this. And I was, how much on for it? You're like, 160. And I said, Jesus, it looks like a really nice place. And he's like, yeah, it's because when we were there, you could see actually in the distance, you could see where there was planes landing, so it was close to Edinburgh Airport. So like, what do you think it'd make if it was to be sold? And you were like, 220, 200. And then I said to you, okay, what would you want off me if I was to buy it? And you said 160 because I'm going to get 160 for it straight away if I want to sell it. So then that's when we went down the road where we started talking about the mortgages. And I said to you, well, if I was to get a mortgage to buy this, what would you be talking? And you said, right, to get a mortgage, you're going to have to put down roughly 35, 40 grand of a deposit and then put it out. And I was like, right, so what would the figures be? You said, well, over 25 years, we started doing the figures and you said it's going to be like 240 odd grand. I was like, right, 240. Like,
so 240 is what you're going to pay back on a £160,000 purchase.
Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck, man? I said, you're putting down a deposit of 40 grand. I said, so you're only actually getting a loan of 120 and you're going to pay them back 240 and you still owe them 120. And you're like, yeah. So we started doing, you have all the data there working out for rental, for Airbnb and all them other online travel agencies. And you were able to say, right, gauging this would be pulling high threes, maybe even 4 grand a month, depending. And obviously, if there's festivals on or whatever, it could even be more. So we worked out the figures, and in 25 years, you'd have earned 1.8 million, just roughly 1.8 million, maybe more, maybe a little bit less, but in that region as a service apartment. And then I was looking at the figures, like, right, it's 200 and pay back 240 and earn 1.8 million. I was like, right, this sounds good now. This sounds interesting. And then that's when we discovered that it actually couldn't be sold straight away because this new law that was passed that if a person buys a property, you can't mortgage it until you can't sell someone with a mortgage till after 6 months. So then that was obviously put like a bit of a spanner in it, and you were getting ahead and I was getting a cracked on. You said, look, I'm going to work away, and if you want me to do things that you'd like, I'll do them for you, you know. So we're only over there yesterday now, just, you know, seeing how progress is going, and it's ready to literally go online now straight away. So it'll be very interesting to see how it kicks off anyways.
Some difference in
insane
short period of time.
Like brand new. The house is literally like brand new. It's such a lovely area, clean, look across the road, look anywhere. Like, it's just a nice neighbourhood. There's no dirt, no roughness, no dirty bathwater, none of the rest. Like, this is a really, really nice place.
So we've described there as a shift in mindset.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, 1,000,000%. Did 1,000,000%. Like, because even, like, let's say going back to that time, you were just after starting off your mindset coaching thing, and I joined that, and you're listening to other people's here and their stories, how they, you know, different walks of life, like people that are based in Holland, Germany, Scotland, England, you know, all around, like, and they're all giving their input into it. And you can see that by following a certain structure, like you said, when we were doing this drawing and you were like taking all the nonsense and around and just taking out the resistance and making it straight, it's actually very, very easy to get.
So what? Tell people what happened there, because that's we did this and it seemed to click for you, because in the forms and the way that it's laid out online,
Yeah.
It didn't really click for you, did it?
No. Like, so literally, like I told you in the last podcast, like I had dyslexia, like, you know, and for me, even like when I was in school, people put the teachers write everything on the blackboard, right? And she'd say, right, you know, do that. And I'd go up and she'd wipe it off and I'd be able to do it. And she said, right, you're able to do that. And I was like, okay. She said, but you told me you weren't able to do it. And I said, yeah, but I'm just after watching you. Like I said, but like give that another couple hours and ask me to go up. I said, I'm not going to be able to do it. So like when I was going online and, you know, obviously I'm looking at my mindset, checking my mindset community every night to see what people are putting down. You know, literally everyone's commenting on it, they're writing, it's back and forward. And I seen people saying fill out the planner. So I just can't actually figure out the planner. And like it wasn't until I come over, like even to you, and you're like, right, this is how we follow the planner. And it looks pretty simple, you know, but someone that might have a little bit of a, we call it a learning difficulties, you know, like I wasn't able to follow. But then you started to literally sketch out and say, right, this is it. This is your vision. Where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? So we're writing that down, you're scoping it out. And you said, right, Dave, this is the thing. Whenever you're thinking of something, you're literally, it's very hard to follow you because you're going from here to there. It's like a juggling act, it's like a scribble. What you actually need to do is get everything in line and make it straight. And it was like when we were talking about the mortgages, like before you'd be like, you need to get a mortgage sorted, Dave. You're just literally, you're holding yourself back to an extent. You are getting there. You're buying properties, you're getting there. But what's happening is, instead of you putting out 60 grand on a property, you could have 2-3 deposits for a mortgage. And so in my mindset, when I could never figure this out. I was like, I was thinking in my own head, George is talking shite. This is rubbish. What he's trying to tell me. He's trying to catch me. In other words, right? But it wasn't until like actually when I went out to Roxbury, seeing the place and seeing that I can have this property for a 35, 40,000 pound deposit, instead of buying a shithole in a bad area, and with the help of God that the area would turn around and become into a prime location at some point, I could actually go directly and buy a really, really nice property with a high return straight away.
So we shifted your mindset because, you know, it seemed to be that you weren't getting it.
Yeah,
It wasn't going through. You were like, you don't understand. And I remember when you were looking at I put it down on a spreadsheet, and I put, right, what the property will make, how much you need to buy the property for, how much that would cost, and what would be if you structured it using a mortgage. And you were hyper fixated on, why would I pay for a house £40,000 deposit and £240,000 in interest? That doesn't make any sense. You're paying money for nothing to then need to pay back the mortgage, the amount that you borrowed anyway. It doesn't make any sense. It says, have you looked at the income column? And you went, oh,
yeah.
It's that you're hyper fixated on one part and you've ignored all the other parts.
Yeah.
And that was a shift in your mindset. And yesterday and today we were doing a bit of the mindset. We were discussing the mindset and how it's laid out. And we got speaking about how important it is what you put your attention onto. So what you put your attention onto, you get more of. And I literally drew it out, like a stick man and some diagrams of how it works.
Yeah.
And you could see that you were like, hey, this is really good.
Yeah.
And that was very different to the forms that were online.
Yeah, because in the forms online, I just couldn't, like you were saying to me, you fill out this and this. And I was like, George, it's looking for, you have to put in a minimum of 6. And you were like, but sure, that should be easy for you. Like, I heard you speaking before, I know what you've done, blah, 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 blah. And when you put it all down like that, you're like, yeah, it actually makes sense. But it wasn't until actually, as you said, stickman, funnel, scribbles everywhere. You're getting lost in that type of, you're getting lost in that kind of thought, like that you think this is the right way of doing it. And he said, yeah, it is working for you. If you look at everything, you are ending up where you actually want to end up. But if you just tweak a few things and just look at in a different pattern, you'll actually get there faster, as we can see since the last episode. Like as we said that day, you said we're leaving that evening, we know what we're going to look at, and we looked at it. I wanted to buy it, unfortunately, because of the bit of a limitation on the mortgage thing. I couldn't buy it straight away, but literally the next day, you send me a link. You're like, look at this property that are popping up. It's in a hot spot. It's like a nice little spot down at the bottom of the Loch Lomond. Used to really have a look at it and had a look at it. I was like, yeah, it's actually a no-brainer, because I went on booking.com, typed in the area, and I was like, right, Balloch, set it for a certain amount of days. And I could even see in a lot of that, a lot of people didn't want to cater for children. I was like, why? Like, they're actually cutting their customers. But yet, when I looked at their bookings, they were still booked out. Do you get me? Like, so, like 5 days, no bookings. So I started going through it, and I put in kids, and I could actually more properties, and I was watching the prices. So literally, where you were looking at one that was £160 a night was now £190 a night, £180 a night, and they were still booked. You still couldn't even get a booking if you'd like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So concentrated on getting that sorted, and tried to go down the road of getting a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, I went through everything. Like, this is a thing that I do actually really want to talk about, because a customer of mine rang me the last day about this, so I'll get back to that. But with the mortgage, there's an awful lot to it. And me paying tax in the UK since 2015, money in the bank, like revenue coming in every single month from all the 9 flats that I have, the long-term tenants in it, the 1 flat I have with a service apartment, and a decent chunk of coin in the bank that's able to buy the flat outright if I want to buy it. But obviously my mind is shifted. I want to get the mortgage because this is going to open a completely different door for me.
Mm-hmm.
And sent in all the application, everything was sweet, and then they just turned around and said, hang on a second, you're in Southern Ireland. So even though I had everything registered properly here, money coming in, tax paid, on paper everything looked grand, but it wasn't until the mortgage company turned around and said, you know, I was approved in principle, but when they actually get to start digging deep into it to go to the next stage, they said, hang on a second, this lad is in Southern Ireland, so I wasn't able to get the mortgage. Mm-hmm. But because the flat was just so nice, like I said, this is just a beaut. I can't miss out on it.
Yep.
I just bought it. Like I just paid it out and bought that flat. Mm-hmm. So just getting back now to what I said about
what's your shift before you tell us about the next part. What's been your shift in your mindset over the last 3 months? Just from a mindset point of view.
It's just, I suppose I was always looking at it in one way. Do you get me? Like the way I always knew. It was always this: buy a car, sell it, save the money that so much of it, try to buy something else, try to buy the property outright, owe no money on it. And look, don't get me wrong, it's good, like you own it from day one. But what I'm actually doing is I was limiting myself to this. And even though, like, we had a quick chat about this years ago, I was back from Australia, and I remember thinking, I was like, fuck me, why would I want to get a mortgage buy to let? You never own it. Just didn't really see it properly. But it wasn't when I literally got in this community and seen how there's other people on it, like a lad there now that I'm actually really, really good friends with down in London, was on your podcast before, JJ, like, and even him, he has properties, he's renting them out, and since the mortgage rates rose, his profit is nearly halved, you know? And he's on the mindset community, and now he's after changing his mindset, and he's actually started to invest here in Scotland as well, because it's nice when there's more people on it and everyone has their own thing. You actually find out, you know what, we're nearly all on the same page here. Like, we're all looking for the same end goal, which is not to have the worries, not to have the stress, just have that constant flow of income coming in, you know, without any major dramas. You're always going to have some sort of difficulties, but just to limit that, you know. Mm-hmm. So I think going on the community definitely was a thing for me, where we have a chat every Sunday. These chats are meant to be an hour. These chats will go for 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes. My wife's downstairs, she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're up there, you're meant to be finished at 8 o'clock, and the film is over, and you're still talking shit upstairs, you know. But it's actually just talking to everyone, and it's great to see how the interaction can literally make you think in a different way, you know.
But it's the power of the community, because I mean, when you are doing it yourself, it can be lonely.
Exactly,
especially if you don't have friends or family that know or are interested in the same thing.
Yeah.
So when you have people that are looking to push their mindset in whatever endeavour they seek, knowing that somebody's pushing it just like you means that you've got some company.
Yeah.
Instead of just feeling like you're the Lone Ranger.
Exactly, yeah. But it's another thing about it is it's to be able to bounce off someone. Like, so if I got stuck on anything before, the first one I'm going to call you, because I'd be like, George, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? As we know, another one, 12 o'clock at night, and you all said the random fucking rubbish, right? And you're always saying to me, like, why are you looking at this shit? If you look at, you're always going on to Zoopla, you're always going to Rightmove, you're looking at properties, they're 30 grand. Like, you're not looking at the ones that are 60 grand. You said, like, if you buy the one for 30, you're going to spend this money on it, you're going to end up at 60. And you still, you said you have a nice flat, but look at the location, look at the type of rent you're going to be getting. And it wasn't until I had that shift to think, right, hang on a second. If I do put the 60 in, instead of spending 30 on it to make it look good, I might have spent 10. And now the 60 grand flat that I spent 10 grand is now worth 100 grand. So the flat that I bought for 30 spent 30 on. That flat is actually, in reality, probably only worth about 50. Do you know what I mean? Like, so instead of putting an extra 10 grand value onto the property, I'm actually putting an extra 30, maybe 40 grand on it, depending on the quality and the standard I'm going to go in finishing it, you know?
What about how that shifts your goals? Because you had a goal that you were moving at a certain pace.
Yeah.
Since we last discussed, we've dramatically increased that pace at which you're moving towards your goals.
Yeah.
Like how's that acceleration felt as you went along?
Sure, it's absolutely it's surreal. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I said, we left here, looked at the property. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Next day, you rang me up and said, Dave, look, this deal has been put out in front of me. It's hot. You can have first kick on it if you like, you know, if you're interested in it. Otherwise, it'll be going out to other investors. So I just looked at the figures. I said, done the research. I was like, yeah, this is definitely a no-brainer for me. Like, and then with that, I still have the money coming in, whatever, from the rent. And then you're another investor. Like, this is again just because I'm thinking of a more straight line where I was pissing about, more or less, you could say. One of your other clients, they want to sell the property. I'm lucky enough that I have the money there. And now another one that's coming out in front of me, and I'm at 20 already. I was hoping to be there in 4 years' time, but like when you look at this and you look at the speed of how you can get things to move when you're looking in a more direct route, instead of thinking, kind of going from A to B, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. When you can think in a more direct route and say, right, this is what I can do if I keep my mind on this path. Like, it's 2 properties and in 3 months, it's absolutely unbelievable.
So can you explain to people what you mean by you're looking in a more direct line? You were saying that when you were, you had this grand plan of getting to 20 properties by the time you're 40. That was 4 years away.
Yeah.
We discussed that in the last podcast. Afterwards, I told you that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That we could actually do that in a matter of months. I'm not really sure you believed me. And then I showed you the mechanics of how it works. Here's the pieces. We need a shift in mindset, which we've discussed, as in the way that you're looking at it is keeping you stuck in a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's true of everyone, no matter on anything that they attempt in life. They create resistance, and that resistance gets in the way. So what we're looking to do is explain how you can reduce the resistance in your mind so that things move much more easily and much more quickly. And that's what's happened. And a goal that you had set for 4 years away has now materialized in 3 months. And that acceleration is really, really quick. And it's how do you cope with that acceleration? How do you handle that?
It's really, really bizarre because, as I said, like, what I look at before, I'd be looking at to buy a property for 30 grand, right? 30, 40,000. Spend 20 on it, spend 30 on it, get it all done up, get it looking nice, and get up in the market. That's all good, but downtime. You're trying to organise guys to get in to get it done, get furniture organised, get all the bits and pieces, and look at you'll have it going in like 3 months or 4 months, you know, if everything moves pretty swiftly, like, you know, because not alone that, obviously the money I have to make at home, I need to send that over here to pay for the work that I'm getting done. So, you know, I can't do it at the same speed as maybe getting it done within 3 months. But so what's happening there is you're missing out on all this money. And like, this wasn't until like literally pen to paper up on the spreadsheet where you're like, if you buy a place that you only have to spend 10 grand on, the 10 grand will say 7 grand in furnishings, 3 grand in a slight refurb, maybe a bit of paint, a bit of laminate flooring. Instead of waiting 3 or 4 months for you to make money, you can actually start making money within weeks instead of months. So that was a massive, massive thing by doing it that way, because at least I could see, right, hang on now, if instead of me losing out, I'm going to just go by an example on the Airbnb that I have out in Dumbarton, like, we'll say, where that made £1,921 last month, okay? So, like, if you miss, we'll say £1,500, and if you miss 3 months, so that's 4.5 grand. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
you're leaving 4.5 grand on the table.
Yeah,
doing it the old way.
Yeah, doing it the old way. You're losing 4,500 instead of just, and like, could be more. That's only like dumbing it down. Like, I could have got 1,900 3 months in a row. Do you get me? Like, that's just dumbing it down and saying, right, call it worst case scenario and getting 1,500 quid. So like, that is money that you're losing by thinking that you're saving money. And it goes back to the saying that people have, was it a penny wise and a pound foolish, where you're watching the pennies, but the pound is getting away from you. And I think that was where I was stuck, before, like, where I was just concentrating on the same. That's why you were getting all the same criteria stuff, where it was just like cheap properties. Obviously, you get a good return. It's not that it's a bad idea, but it's just there's definitely better ways of doing it when you actually know and study the proper route. Like,
well, this is an example. I mean, if you compare some of the properties that you've bought versus the one that we went out to yesterday in Balloch, I mean, in terms of, it's not a significant financial amount. In terms of, you're talking the difference between paying, 45 or 65. That £20,000 is a lot of money, but in the scale of property purchases, it's not that dramatic, because you could buy a £45,000 property and put a £25,000-30,000 refurb on it. But when you look at what you were able to get in Balloch, I was able to find you something. I'm like, right, look, for not a huge jump in terms of the amount that you need to pay, you're getting a significantly more attractive property. And that was where the shift was really starting to go, oh. So rather than we buy two sort of run down, rough, sort of, they need a bit of a tender love and care. They need a hand. They need a bucket of love that may or may not attract the right type of person that may or may not look after it. You can move up the market for not a lot more money, but get a lot more of a result in terms of cash flow.
Oh, definitely. Like, because even like Balloch, back in Galway, is a little town called Clifton, and Balloch when I went out there and actually seen the layout of the town and everything like that, what it puts you in the mind of. It puts you in the mind of Clifton, and they get a massive, like, even in the summers there, like, there'd be tailbacks going into Galway, like where they go into little bottleneck towns and all that, like, and it just shows the volume of people going there. Like, even when we went down yesterday to look at it, we just drove around the kind of route where you could walk around. I even seen an Irish car, like, where it even shows that there's people from Wexford. There was a brand new car from Wexford, like, that was there. It just shows that people are actually travelling to this area from Ireland to even see the little town, the layout of it, and it's unbelievable to see it. Like, it's a breathtaking town.
So see, when I showed you the squiggly lines and the straight line, like, did that make sense to you?
Of course, yeah.
Right, so tell people what that was like. Describe what you'd seen there.
So the squiggly lines was like, we'll say, like my old way, where I was just delaying everything. I was saying, right, I have to do this and I have to look at that, and then I need to buy the property, and then I have to organise the workers, and it was just putting so much more work to get the same result. But by we'll say, just literally moving a couple of things in a different way, it was more direct. So literally buy the property, turn it around in a few weeks, get it on the market, and you're pulling, like, especially this one in Balloch. This one will be bringing in, I'd say, probably about 160 to 190 £190 a day, like. So,
yes, it's a hot spot. Very hot area.
10 days, 1,800, £1,900, like.
Yep.
Like, that's $6,000 a month, like, if things are going right. You know what I mean?
Summer months, that place is Balloch as an area is absolutely packed.
Well, like my friend Frank, my neighbour, calls it a hot cake. That's what it is.
Hot cake.
A hot cake.
So how have you found obviously Mindset Cat is notoriously stubborn to change, and people don't get it right all the time. And the way I would describe it is, imagine you come to a park, right? And in that park, there's lots going on. And there's loads of things that you could do, but what you need to do is get through this park as quickly as you possibly can, the direct route from the gate that you're in to the exit that you want to get to. Because in that exit's your result, the result that you're looking for, the goal that you want to achieve, right? But when you get into the park, you could go to the left-hand side and you could talk to John, and you could walk up to the next bit where Bob's working and get the story with him, and you could walk around the park interacting with all the different people and all the different things in there to get the story about what the park is all about and find out all the goings on in the park. The youth went all the way around and spent a lot of time, a lot of energy finding out what's going on in the park, but it's actually not taking you any closer to your goal, because the goal is to exit out the other side. So really what you want to do is, rather than going around getting all the information about all the bits and pieces in the park that don't really make any difference to your result, is you want to line yourself up to the most direct route to get out of that park to the exit to what it is that you want to achieve. And if you look down at the top of the park, the direct route would look like a straight line. It would be the shortest distance from the entrance to the exit point.
Yeah.
What it looked like, what we were describing was if you go out to the right and you go out to the left and you go back to the centre and you go back and you go all the way around the park, it just looks like a squiggly line on the top of the map.
Yeah.
It's all that energy wasted that's not directed at where you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's having that ability to have someone there that can go, right, look, you don't need to go and get that information. You just need to focus on what it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And with that focus, that can get you a significantly faster and quicker result.
Yeah, but I definitely think like listening to the right people in the right area, you know what I mean? Like, as you said, it might be right the way I was doing it in my own head. But like when you look in theory and you look at all these other people, like after, I always used to look at UK properties. I didn't really concentrate in Ireland because it's too expensive over there to get in the game, like, but I always concentrate on UK and I was always watching different people, like, you know. But since after the podcast here and we're just talking, you know, I literally started looking at more videos and all these other videos are popping up, like, and you actually see how other people do business as well. Now look at some of them are good, some of them are bad, you know, like a lot of them promise a dream, you know, like that we all wanted, which is literally the end result where you're getting high cash flow every month, no stress to an extent. There's always going to be a little bit. There's no thing that's invisible. That's nonsense, right? But like the Fontaine brothers, I watch them all the time. I'm always seeing your links saying, look what they've done today, look what they've done tonight. You read some of the comments, people put hate speech up about them, like, but at the end of the day, I was only watching them on the last day and it was on a bank holiday Monday. Your man rocks up to get things done. He looks around, he sees nobody there. And then he fucking realizes, you know what, it's actually a bank holiday Monday, but he's still going in getting things organized, like, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the biggest thing is when you're involved in this game is keeping your eye on the goal, you know, like to get the end result. I was watching other people on it and they're doing it in a different way. They're selling these classes, selling all these other things. And it was actually, when I was talking to you about it, where I was saying, right, this lad has 500,000, 1 million subscribers where he's only getting like 10,000 views. And you're thinking, well, if he has 500,000 subscribers, how come only this amount of people are actually taking him serious? Because a lot of the information, if you go back and watch a lot of the stuff, a lot of it's very hard. It's so hard to think, you know, that this can be achieved. Like where you go, you know, when something sounds too good to be true, it normally is too good to be true. Where like you watch one where we're turning someone that has no money to a millionaire within a week, like, you know, like that is, look, it's possible. There's a possibility of it happening, but the reality of it is like it's nearly a miracle if it could happen that easy. Where you know, like we're talking about the straight road, all your ducks in a row, like to get all that to come together in a week, I just can't see it. Like, so
yeah, and that's
people
like,
getting a misconception of this information. Like,
I think that's the thing is that the dream's sold and they don't realise that what's portrayed out there and what reality is are not the same thing.
Yeah.
What's portrayed out there isn't really going to it's not going to cut it, do you know?
Yeah.
So what else have you seen out there? Have you ever seen any ones where you thought, that's an absolute shocker?
See, as I said, I watch a lot of them and they talk about different ways of doing it. Like, so the Fontaine brothers, I said, I go back to them. I like their stuff. They're not dressed in Armani suits going around doing deals. These ads are on the road. They're getting shit done straight away. And I'm looking at their deals and their deals are fairly good. Where you're putting in X amount of money, you're getting this much money back every month. But I think if they looked at a different thing, maybe like have a chat with you or whatever like that, they could actually change their game, get to their result a lot quicker. There's other ways of doing it. Like you can get actually more money out of it. And like going back to earlier on when I was speaking about a guy that gave me a call, this lad I done work for him in his car many, many years ago. Like, don't have his number on my phone, nothing. This number rings me up and he rang me one day and I was actually really busy. As he called me later and he rang me the next day. And he said, look, seen your podcast, fucking really enjoyed it. Gio, they call you Gio, I call you George. I said, Gio seems like a really good guy. Seems to be literally straight to the point. I said, this lad will tell you to fuck off, man. If he doesn't like what he's hearing, he's no fluffy with this guy. And he said, look, I've been over to Leeds. There's a company over there. You pay them £7,800 and then they find your property, they organise your mortgage and they'll manage your rent and you'll be coming out with about, I think he said either £400 or £300 a month after everything's paid. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what do you mean you pay them £7,800? Like, because one thing that people actually don't understand in this game of the property, like, there's a finder's fee. Mm-hmm. And so for some people, it's a shock when they say, what, you're charging me $6,000 to find you a deal.
Yep.
Right? That $6,000 you pay, that's finding you the deal, organising your solicitor. If you need to get a mortgage, putting you in contact with different mortgage brokers, that is, you know, they're not getting you the mortgage because that's impossible. Do you get where I come from? Like, you have to, as I said, I've been speaking earlier on about what it was like for me with a person that has a national insurance number, a UTR number, paying tax, all this. They'll put you in contact with these people, they'll put you in contact with the solicitor. But like this person that you pay $6,000 to, this is you on the ground, going out, viewing the property, seeing is it the home report and the property actually match up. Like the last day, got a home report for that property you're telling me about, said there was no security doors, there was an issue with the drain out the back, and when you landed down, actually everything was repaired.
Yep.
So like it was given, like sometimes it'll work out in your favour where you're actually getting a better deal. But when this guy said this to me, 7,800, I said, like, I just can't figure this out. I said, what's the interest rate?
So was he buying the property or
so he was buying a property, right? But this company in Leeds was, I don't even know their name now, but this company in Leeds was, he was going to pay them 7,800, he told me, and they organise everything. So the first thing I said is, like, I was baffled. I was like, what the hell? This doesn't sound right. Anyways, especially you're only getting £300 or £400.
Does it include his deposit? Surely not.
He didn't know how much deposit, didn't know how much interest rate, didn't know, like, the property will be roughly, I think he said between, 100 and 150, somewhere in that range, the property will be.
Yep.
But like I said, how much are you going to be paying a month, like? So he didn't know, they didn't tell him, he couldn't tell me how much rent he'd be receiving. He couldn't tell me how much the mortgage would be a month. He couldn't tell me anything. And it was a buy-to-let mortgage. So I was like, look, I said, I can just tell you what I've experienced because I'm in the middle of an application at the moment trying to get one across the line. And I said, when I didn't get that, I explained to him how I was nearly had the mortgage, then I didn't get it for certain reasons. And then I was actually looking online, I looked up expats mortgages, and the interest rate on an expat mortgage buy-to-let was 10%.
Wow.
So like, you're the only person that's getting fooled there is yourself, like, because you're just literally getting the loan of the money for the sake of getting the money. But the reality of it is, at the moment I'm using a mortgage broker called London and Country, and the rate I'll be paying is 5.6 for 2 years. Like it's nearly half. Like it's actually like nearly half, a couple of fucking percent off what he was going to if I was to get the 10% one, But like when I said to him, I said, I think you're getting scammed here. Like this, just nothing is adding up. I said, you don't know how much you're paying for the house. You don't know how much rent you're going to be getting. You don't know how much you're going to be paying a mortgage. You don't know. And I said, have you a national insurance number? He's like, no. I said, Jesus Christ, man, that's the first thing that they're going to ask you for, is you're going to ask you for your national insurance number. And he's like, I don't have one. I said, well, the first thing you do is go and get one. He said, well, I meant to be going over to Leeds. I think he was actually going over this month. He said, I meant to be going over to Leeds again to meet up with them and whatever. And I said, look, I'm just telling you, it doesn't sound right.
Yep.
And then he said, well, will you give me George's number? I said, look, I'll have to speak to George because I have his personal number. You probably give me your email and you can email him. But I said, before you do any of this, like, you need to get national insurance number sorted, get a bank account sorted in the UK, get a few bits and pieces that you're going to need, regardless if you buy it cash, you're going to need it because when you go to the solicitor, you need to give your national insurance number, get all the titles, get everything sorted. So it just shows that there is companies out there and there's people gullible enough to say, yeah, there's 7,800 and
just exploiting them.
Yeah, exploiting them, like, because how are they to know if you're going to get the mortgage? Maybe you have subscriptions come out of your account that they're not happy with, maybe online gambling, etc. Like, and they're looking at your thing and saying, right, you're earning this much money, you're spending this much money. Sorry, mate, no mortgage. No
bueno.
Thank you very much. It's not going to happen. Like, so like, and looking at, as I said, I'm looking at all different people's content. I'm actually looking at. There was another lad, Stephen Duncombe or something. He's a guy, he's invested in the UK, he's invested in the US, he's actually been in a lot of places. And even looking at lots of the stuff he has, it just shows how people do business different. But like, would I agree with everything that he does? No. Would I agree with everything that, we'll say, the Fontaine brothers do? No. Samuel Eads, another very popular one, he's all over. If you literally, anyone that does this thing, they'll see his ones, like, he does serious amount of stuff, and he does some good stuff where he helps people finance to buy properties and all this. But when you look at the way the figures and all this, nothing makes sense.
Doesn't add up.
It just doesn't add up.
What do you make of the situation where I, take you back to the ones that I've shown you, and people are like, it can't be real. Surely it's too good to be true. And I'm showing you real deals. I'm not showing you like stuff that's hypothetical.
So
even the ones that you've looked at, I'm like, this is operating. This is on property. This is real figures. This is what it's doing this month.
Yeah,
I mean, not just like, hey, look, we've seen something in the area and it might do this. We're talking about real world results.
Yeah, so literally that day, it would have been the next day before I flew back to Ireland. We went down to one of your properties in Coatbridge. This is the one that I actually have the mortgage application in for if I get it, with the help of God. Mm-hmm. Pray for me, Frank. I went in, looked, pulled down, actually a really nice view. It's elevated, it's looking out. Some of the house around it, grass overgrown, a few bits like that. And I'm like, geez, I wonder what this is like. With no intentions of buying it, like no even thought of it. And when we went in and opened the door, like up the stairs, it's flat, it's brand spanking new, freshly refurbed, lovely decor. Look out the window of the kitchen, you're looking out on just a beautiful, beautiful flat. And turned around to you and said, would you sell it? You're like, yeah, get the right money. She's up. Back to your house, got the spreadsheet up from the actual online travel agencies, all the money coming in. And this flat is making 2,200, $3,000 a month. And like literally, I think 1,800 was the lowest one I had seen in nearly, I think we looked over the period of 6 months, right? And I turned around to you a couple of days, or a few weeks later, and I said, where's the real good spot in Scotland now to invest? Like, you see all these high-end investments and all this, and you say, well, look at this, you could go down to the west end of Glasgow, you can give £900,000 or £850,000 for a flat, and you'll get 4,500 a month for this flat. Mm-hmm. But I was like, sounds good, like, but like when you look at Dumbarton, the one I have, I'm getting 1,500. If you look at West George Street, that's making 2,200. If you look at Balloch, they'll probably be making $3,000. Like, you're only looking at a couple £100,000 there, and I'm making more money than one I'd give £900,000 for. It's
wild.
It makes no sense. Like,
this is the thing: is people get stuck in their own ways, of their own bias, thinking that they know what's going on, or they know what's good, or just like we touched on. Right, your strategy was, like, make a few quid selling the cars, take the money, buy the cheapest property that you can get, sell a few more cars, and maybe do a bit of work to it, and then get a tenant. And it was like, that was working for you. And I've said to you, says Dave, look, maybe you should consider doing something that will really, really get you some results. And you're like, the usual. I know I'm fine with what I'm doing. Let's leave that to you. This is good enough for me, type thing. But slowly but surely, you were like, well, I says, look, just have a look at the figures then and see and check. And that was when it was like even up to the point of getting your first one in Dumbarton. And we put that one on, and you're like, holy moly, this thing's flying. I said, well, that's the whole point of it. This thing actually does what I'm saying, because we are doing it day in, day out. And it's that shift in that sort of, you need to take the leap that is going to work. And when it does work, you just think there's nothing else like it. But for a lot of people, they don't get there because they're not open yet to seeing what else is out there. And it's easy to say it's too good to be true. Well, there's the truth in the management files. The management files don't lie.
Yeah.
You go in and they're doing what they say in the tin. Versus your pal who goes to Leeds to pay, £7,800 as a fee for who knows what to get who knows what. He doesn't even know what he's getting, but all he knows is that he really likes the noises that's coming for the guys that are doing it, and that they want a few bucks to get started. Which is fine, but you need to show people what it is that they're getting, because that's where you get a lot of people out there are busy working, busy making their money, busy in their own businesses. They've not got time to go and work out all the ins and outs of property. So it's absolutely the right move to go and get an absolute super specialist at what they do, who's got a track record, who can go, look, don't buy this, don't buy that, this is what you should, and give you options. Because I was giving you options, I'm like, right, just have a look at these and see what you think. And that little increase in purchase price made a huge increase in terms of performance, and it just unlocked you. And we also got you to walk through the park in a straight line without
Bumping into anybody.
without finding out what Nora was doing on the bench, and had Billy fed the birds that day, and is the dog walking around the park that you usually see, and he was like, look, let's get you in a straight line, get you right to that goal. And there you go, 4 years you'd given it, and it's not even 3 months later and you've smashed it.
Yeah.
And that's the power of mindset. That's the power that you've been able to unlock. Now, I can unlock that for you. I can absolutely do it, but it's though you can take the horse to the water, the horse needs to drink it. And you were up for it.
I see. So when you told me about the one in Dumbarton, as I said, like, it was hard to believe. I was like, a fucking flat I'm going to pay 45 grand for that I can turn around and make. We said 1,000. That's what we were aiming for that time. Low end, $1,000 a month. So if that flat was rented out, you're going to go 450 a month.
Yep.
So I'm doubling my rent instantly by buying this flat. So literally last year, I didn't realise I'd have someone there to let in for the Wi-Fi's with the lockbox outside. This is another thing that people have to consider. Like, you need to have people that can help you organise these things. And had to have someone over the age of 18 in the house for the maintenance, or what would you call them, Wi-Fi specialist to come into the house and fit your box or whatever you have to do. And in most cases, it's only literally plug it in and plug in a wire. Like, so that was at the start of May. Now, it wouldn't let me fill out the application with my Irish number, so I had to put down an English number. So I took down a number for my mate Kev back in Armagh. So Kev's getting all these fucking text messages because I forgot to tell him I used your number for talk. So they were ringing up saying, I'll be out tomorrow to fit it. He said, go, what the fuck? He said, I'm trying to get rid of you for the last 2 years and you keep ringing me.
He's good talk now.
Yeah, he had it. He got rid of it. But he was 2 years trying to get rid of them. And now they're ringing him telling them they're coming out to fit in his new line. So then I ring him up and I say, Kev, I fucking forgot to tell you I used your number for a thing. And he's like, was that what it was? These cunts are ringing me and texting me all fucking week. But anyways, got it organised. They come down. Can't go into the house. So I ring you. I said, are you about? And you said, I'm not around today. Give me their number. I ring them. And you rang them and they said, look, can you go in? Like, how did you get here? I came here by a van. Was there anyone with you? No. So you managed to get on the road. You managed to drive down. And you made it as far as here on your own, but you're afraid to go in and just literally fit the box. And he's like, yeah, can't go in. So I was like, right, nothing I can do, there's no one there. So I had to organise someone to be there. They came in, and that was the 27th of May. It was a Friday last year. Came in, fitted the box, rang you and said, right, that's it done. Everything was done, pictures, all that. He put it online at 4 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, I got a text message from you on WhatsApp, a screenshot, and it was after being booked for 2 weeks straight away. At I think it was working out about 1,400 quid. And I was like, for fuck's sake, man.
Just like that.
Just like that. And literally, and it's been like that ever since. Like, so, like I said in the last podcast, it averaged out around 1,400. Like, there in March, I actually got no booking in it. So it didn't make a pound, like, but it made £1,921 just gone in April. So, like, it'll probably, looking at the end of May, it'll probably make another 14, 15, £1,600, depending on what comes in, like. So it just shows that this is the market you kind of want to be in, and this is the area you want to be in, because, as I said, my friend Kev, I rang him up when I got the Wi-Fi, and I said, got the Wi-Fi and got a book and sent him pictures. He's like, fuck's sake, that's just too hard to believe. Like, it sounds too hard to be true.
Well, when it's too good to be true, and you show them, and even when you show them the evidence, they still can't believe it.
Can't believe it.
So how much evidence do they need to show you? Like, how much do you need to see before you get that this is real?
Yeah.
Before it clicks, you go, oh yeah, this is how it works.
But even, we'll say after that then, like, he'd always say from time to time, how's it going? And I tell him, I was like, oh, fuck's sake, it's unreal. And in January, I said to him, I said, Christmas, man, I'm still booked out. And he's like, how the hell? He said, he said, I'm interested in that. And after my last podcast, he said, he said, I'm going to contact George. Rang you, gave it the heads up. You said, give him the number, make contact. 3 months later, Kevin was 2. Bought, like, 2 going to be service partner. One's nearly ready to go online. The other one is very, very, very close to being finished up, like, and that's him on the saddle straight away, like. Straight in. Now, for him, I can see, like, where, I told him the finder's fee and bits and pieces like that, and, I said, you have to pay this. This is not a thing, that there's other investors willing to pay more money to get this type of deal, like. This is a thing you have to pay, and as I said, like, it's very, very frustrating at the start for anyone that gets into this, because you're paying for refurbs, you're paying for furniture, you're paying for all these other things, you're paying for the management company, you need to pay like a £900 registration pack where they send out professional photographers, you know, get brochures done, get all these things done. That these are bits and pieces that have to be done. So even Kev said to me, Jesus, you know, I feel like I'm throwing out money all the time. I said, yeah, you're throwing it out now, but wait, it's coming back, and when it comes back, it's going to come back fast. Like, so anyone that does get involved, this is the real thing. Like, you are going to, when you buy the house, you buy the house. It's not finished there. You know, now we have to get furniture companies in. Yeah, you can do it yourself, but like what we call back in Ireland, the swag. Rubbish. You know what I mean? You buy a cheap couch, it's fucked after, it's fucked after a year. Or if you buy a dear couch, it'll probably do 10 years. You know, like, so buy right, get a proper company and get it rightly staged, get everything done really, really nice. Pay the couple of quid extra. I know it's hard to pay it, but pay the extra money at the start, because you're going to be getting a way, way nicer, way, way better. What would you call it? People are going to be more attracted to looking at it and saying, you know what, this is a really, really nice place. Like anyone going on booking.com or Airbnb and they look at the property, they look at the inside of it and say, you know what, this is a really, really nice little spot. And it creates traction. People start to go to it.
Yep.
So for anyone that is getting started, they must bear in mind, you are going to put out a nice bit of coin after you buy the house.
Yep.
Again, 7, 8, 10, 15 grand, depending what kind of a refurb you're doing or what way you're actually going to furnish it. But you are going to be getting, and I can only speak for myself, and I've seen figures for your own personal ones online. Like, the return is massive. Like, massive.
People, like, as I said, like, one of the things that we do is we don't go around bawling and shouting, hey, look, we're doing, these amazing returns, and it's this and it's that and it's the next thing. And maybe that's not the way to do it. Maybe the strategy is go out and make as much noise about what you're doing. But we're kind of like, right, this is what we're up to. This is what sort of money that we're making. If you want in, then let us know. Because remember, how did we start the first podcast? What was the very first thing I said to you?
When did we meet?
I said, talk is cheap.
Oh, talk is cheap. Yeah.
Talk is cheap. Yeah. Everybody wants to get in on it, but it's you ready to put your money where your mouth is. And that's why we do things in that way. So look, you can show your commitment and how serious you are by putting your hand in your pocket. Right? And if you got your hand in your pocket, we know that you're taking this seriously. Anybody can phone up and be like, yeah, let's have a chat and I'd love to get into it. Everybody wants to get into property. Everybody wants to make big money. How many people are ready to put their money where their mouth is because talk is cheap?
Yeah, well, this is, even that lad I was telling you about, I even said to him, I said, look, you have to pay this fee. I said, you pay the fee, he finds the deal. No, I said, what you have to bear in mind, and as I would say to anybody that's going to get involved with, which all I can speak is from you really in this line, like, but anyone's going to get involved with you, you're not going to get something that's shit, because you're the one that's going to have to be dealing with it. Do you get me? And like I said to him, if he gets you a deal, believe you me, for whatever money you have, you're going to be getting the best value for your money. You know what I mean? Like, so you're paying $6,000, but you are going to be getting the best like option you could get for what money you actually have, you know? And it's what's throws people off, I think, is when they look online and they see all these people, but everyone is charging a fee. If you actually contact Fontaine Brothers, you contact Samuel Leeds, you contact any of these people, they're all going to charge you a fee to enter this game. Like, but as you said, if you're not willing to put the money down, you're not serious about getting in the game. You know, and that is definitely it. Like,
yeah, and I mean, one of the things I would say is that's if you want this done for you.
Yeah.
So if you want somebody to do it for you, they use their knowledge, use their expertise, negotiate for you on your behalf, analyse the data, work out the right type of property, work out the location, work out the projected earnings that it could potentially make, work out is there anything going on in that area, strategise how to best do the refurb, how to furnish it in the right way, how to put the whole thing together. You're paying for that entire
package
sphere of your expertise. Like, you can go and do this yourself and you don't need to pay a fee. I've got a property course that I sell where it's like, you can buy the course, you can go and there's everything you need to know there. You can buy it one off, you can go and learn it. But what inevitably happens is a lot of people go, look, this is too complicated. Can I not just pay you to do it? And you can do it for me. The reason that that's important is that for anyone that thinks, I was asked about why is the fee so high? And I said, well, I don't think the fee is very high. It's, well, how do you work out that the fee isn't very high? And I says, well, I'll tell you a story about a property deal that went south. It says this property was up for sale for £100,000. It was a building on a main street, It was up for £100,000. Big building. Used to be
So in
owned by a bank.
Coatbridge?
Yeah, used
Oh,
to be owned by a bank. Right, and that property, they put down a £20,000 deposit to buy it. And they asked me what it was to take a look over the details of the property. So I had a look at the information that they'd been sent and asked about some basic questions. And bear in mind, I haven't laid eyes on the property. I haven't been in the property. I haven't seen any of the reports of the property. So I'm going on how much they've put down, how much the purchase price is, and what they've seen. Right, with my 20 years of experience, I says, I would not touch this with a barge pole. I says, why? I says, because it's got dry rot. Dry rot will be in every timber in that building. And the reason that it's at this figure is because they need to attract someone that will buy it the way it is. It says, this thing will cost 500 grand to renovate. And the building's not going to be worth 500 grand when you do it. So you're going to buy something at 100, you put £20,000 to secure it, right? And you've bought something that you don't know how to fix. And even if you did know how to fix it, it's going to be worth, the repairs and the purchase price are going to total more than what this thing's worth. So it's a dead deal. It's dead. You should leave this to somebody else. And they eventually says, look, we'll get some specialists to go and have a look at the dry rot. They came back. They says, yep, your guy's right. This thing is going to be way more expensive to repair than it is, and it's going to be worth. And they ended up just losing their deposit. That cost them £20,000.
Yeah.
If you paid somebody $6 that knows what they're doing, you'd have never lost that 20. You'd have never looked at a deal that was going to be a building that would be worth 300 grand that was going to cost you 600 grand to fix, including the purchase price. Like, it's that expertise, because it's very, 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 very easy. Very easy to lose £6,000 on a property. In fact, if you're going to lose money and you only lose 6 grand, you're doing actually okay. Because the amount that you can lose can be, like, there's no limit, there's no floor on what you can lose.
But what you said there now, right? You said about negotiations. Okay, so this is a big thing that for anyone that is interested, like, to know about this. Like, so, for example, we just say most properties go here about maybe, 5-10% over the home report, depending on the area. So if that flat is, we'll just throw out a number. Say that house is 70 grand. You go out, you look at it, you do all your thing, and you negotiate £10,000 off that. So now it's 60 grand. Mm-hmm. The fee is still 6,000.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Like, so now you've actually saved yourself 4 grand if you look at it this way, because
the Irish way, we discussed this earlier.
Yeah, we discussed this. Actually, you're after saving this because you never had to throw it out. Do you get me?
Yeah, you've paid 6 to save 10.
Yeah,
so you're 6. Up 4.
Yes, you're up 4 grand.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a win-win.
I don't think I've ever bought a property for you that's been the right money that they've asked for.
No, literally, because going back to Ballock, actually, that property was up for offers over 68,000, and you negotiated £8,000 off the price.
Yeah.
Kev bought a house in Dunbarton. You look at the home report, say, look at the roof. Looks like it needs roof repairs in a few years. Negotiated, I know, the 5 grand, 6 grand off the price.
Yep.
Then when you actually got read down into it, you said, right, tell them to go to fuck. £1,500 more off the price. And they're like, oh no, we can't do it. And you're like, yeah, just tell them that's fine. Forget about it. Well, 2 days later, ring up. Yeah, we'll take the 1,500 off the price.
Yeah.
So now there's 7,500, £8,000 saved. I can't remember the exact figures, but like £8,000 saved. So now really, you haven't really paid anything. Yep. You have 2 grand in your pocket, and you're getting a good spot. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are the things where people miss out. Like, as I said, the man that'll pay 7,800 for doesn't even know what he's getting.
I don't think that guy's paying £7,800 for a packet of cards or something. I don't know what he's getting.
Back. You know what I mean? Like, well done. You came this far, like, give me the money. Like, the next thing I would probably say is we have a WhatsApp group, a deals WhatsApp group that there's a couple of us on, and like, as I said, you have investors there that might want to get out of the game, or you might have properties that are coming up that are literally not even online yet. And going back to that one where you were the investor, I said I just bought there now. Not online, not anything. The minute I seen it, I didn't even have time to text. I just rang you straight away and I said, put my name on that.
Yep.
Do you know, like, and I see the Fontaine brothers, they do a very similar thing where they have a WhatsApp community that people are on. They put deals on, and people can contact you if they want to go deeper, like, because it's putting it out there to all these other investors. Or I might see it and say, do you know what? Joe down the road is actually looking to buy a spot. show him the picture, put him in contact with you, like, so having this, we'll call it a community where someone's looking over you, like you're actually getting a really, really good value for your money. It's very, very important.
What did you get contacted after the podcast?
After the podcast, so many people rang me. Like even a lad, he'd be a distant cousin of mine. He's probably a third cousin of my own. Like haven't seen him since my cousin Jack come back to Australia. I was down at his house, just bumped into him down there. Hadn't seen him since. Nothing. Ringing me up. Jesus, man, seeing your podcast was fucking great. Think about buying these two things. What do you think? Like asking me for my expertise. Scotland looks serious, man. Really interested. What do you think? Another lad rings me up. Same thing. Oh, I was thinking about investing in the North, but geez, Scotland looks better. Like, I'm not lying to you. The amount of people that rang me was unbelievable. Text me. First cousin of mine down in London. Seeing it. Fuck me, man. Jesus Christ. I need to ring you. I have money. I want to get this done. My uncle fucking Werner ring me. Yeah. Look at, I'm pulling my money out of the pension. I want to get a place in Scotland. Like, this is no bullshit. Like, this is what happened. Like, it was absolutely overwhelming. Like, to see the amount of people that wanted to actually get involved after they watched my last podcast. Like.
And you remember where it started? It started with Dumbarton. Yeah. And I said to Dave, listen, going to please stop buying shit properties.
Yeah, stop buying rubbish.
Please stop buying dog shit houses.
Yeah.
Here's what to do.
Yeah.
And he says, look, I think if I remember rightly, you were sort of like you weren't quite ready to buy something yet, but you were like getting close.
No, I was buying one in Paisley, and it just kept going on, and I did fucking shit solicitor.
Yeah.
And you were like, their solicitor was calling off my deal, and you were like, for fuck's sake, man, they work for tips, they work for you. Don't listen to that shit. And he said the best thing to do is just forget about that place. It's not for you. Like every single time something done, postal strikes in fucking UK after I sent all my documents off, it was an absolute fucking mess. Like the 14th of December, 21, they ring me up, or the 22, we're calling this deal off. You haven't seen the documents. I said, look, I have the tracking number. I posted on the 1st of November. It's not my fault that you don't have it yet. There's something to do with strikes over there. Oh, we're calling off the deal. All this, like all the challenges, I reprinted everything, sent everything over. Then the two of them landed at the same time. But it was for luck. It was for luck that didn't go through. I have a great solicitor now. PRP Legal, anyone that's looking for a good solicitor in Scotland. Very, very good. No bullshit. When you ring them, they'll answer the phone. If you send them an email, they'll call you. Just real professional people, like. And like they will tell you, like with that one that actually they were just Bayliston, is it? Bayliston, yeah. Even with that one, I told Tracy, get in the offer, I'm buying this place. And she said, look, you see their home report, it has this. And I said, look, George has actually been down there. And he said they've actually done the improvements, like where the categories were like, was it over here? 1,
3.
2, and 3. Yeah. Yep. So she said, like,
so the story was for the listeners, the investor that had bought this was needing to liquidate out the property. They needed cash. The property was doing really well. And I'd said to Dave, look, this has came up. Are you interested? And you'd said, right, send me it over. So we've got a copy of the home report, sent it across to you. You passed it to Tracy and says, listen, Tracy, I'm getting an offer in and want to buy it. The solicitor looking after you has checked out the home report and went, look, there's a waste pipe. There's basically human excrement that's spraying out into the back garden because this repair hasn't been carried out. And one of the other things that was picked up on, there was no security doors. So I says, look, I'll swing by, I'll pop by and check it out. So as I said, we took a drive down. We went, there was brand new doors on there. We went out the back. There was no excrement. There was a case that had been cleaned up and the repairs had been made to the pipes. So it was positive that something had actually been done when the home report actually says that it was a mess. So it even turned out even better than what we thought. And bearing in mind, we had all the data to say, look, here's what it's doing, here's the results it's getting.
Yeah, like we're literally looking at that even yesterday, and it came online with G. It was transferred over to E in the end of January, and from the end of January till this very minute, it had pulled in just over £7,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that is it's gonna work out at a 60 grand investment.
Yep, crazy,
and it's made that money
in 5 months. Wild.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like, but as I said, lucky I'm a member of this WhatsApp group where, as you call it, Geo's hidden list, where stuff is getting on it before it hits mainstream. other investors, like if anyone is involved in it, you don't want to get involved in this, where you're actually seeing real deals going up, like proper deals where they've been scrutinized to make sure that right areas, good property, maybe need some repairs, but might work in your favor, that you're going to get it at a discounted price for where it is. Like Ballock, look in that area, that house I'm after buying's worth over probably 110, would it? £115,000
easily.
And for a 25 grand refurb I have to do, and it'll be costing me, let's say, 85, 90.
So you're going to get that 85, 90. We're going to be able to go in and do that refurb and structure that property exactly how we want it.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to set that place up. We're going to open the kitchen, living room up. We're going to change the bedroom. We're going to shift everything around. There's a possibility of putting a wood burning stove in there, which is a really big appeal. We can get everything fresh, everything new. We can have it all looking immaculate so that that it's getting done in a way that is going to get you the best possible result. And that's the difference, where you can spot these little things. And I'm saying to you, right, look, here's this property that's, in the same sort of size and same sort of location as this one that you're buying, and it's selling for 110 and it's in good condition. And we can go and do an absolute pinpoint refurbishment that covers exactly what we need it for, the way that we need it to be, to do it in the way that is going to get the best possible result. And we can do that, and it's still going to be £20,000 equity that's in your favour even after doing it. So by the time you do this, you're going to get a better result, maximise your returns, and you're going to be getting a property the way you want it, and you can also going to have 20 grand in equity. And that's why you're getting the best to do that sort of analysis to figure out what's the right type of deal for you.
It was just when you're talking about that, right? As I said, I've been looking at all these other different ones, and Samuel Leeds has a podcast which does a Winners on a Wednesday, where he brings in people that done his course, got advice from mentorship, whatever way they do it, and they talk about properties they bought. So it was these two brothers, and they were mainly staying around the Midlands in England, so down around Sheffield, that area. And they're in London, properties are in Sheffield, and they're getting this house refurbed, right? So they're going up and down every week, just keep trying to, but not every week, probably every other week, keep an eye on things. And your man's like, fuck me, man, they're smashing through this. The two boys were excited, like, they were actually really excited seeing how quick the work was being done. Mm-hmm. Paid the money, everything's done. They're out looking at it. They bought this to flip. So they bought this house to flip it, get some money out of it. I think what they call that, buy, refinance, refurbish. Is that the term? BRR or whatever?
Yeah, buy, refurbish, refinance, and rent.
Yeah, so they do that, right? So that's what they were done. So they bought it, they refinanced, took money out of it, and then they were going selling it. So they're up, and their two brothers are looking at it, and I'll never forget it. Like, this will just show you how careful you need to be who you get to do work for you when you're not around. And he's looking, he goes to his brother, he said, is there not meant to be a waste pipe coming out of that upstairs? And the man's like, what do you mean? He said, we've turned that room into an ensuite. So when they went up, these guys had done the repairs, they put in the toilet and just drilled a hole in the floor and just put the pipe into the laminate and hooked up water, but there was actually no waste pipe coming out. So the first time you flushed that toilet, it was going to flood the fucking house.
Jeez, oh.
Like, your man, and these, as I said, after that, they really had to they literally had to be hovering over everybody or bring lads themselves down. I think they were in Kent, down to get this work done. So it's very, very important to have someone that is going to bring in the right people that they're going to do the right kind of job, where you're not going to have, like let's say, them toilet issues, or you're going to have damp problems. Like even with that one in Ballock, you went around when you went to check it and you're like, look, there is a couple of damp issues. Before we go ahead to buy it, I want to get a damp report done. So you ring up, damp report done. You send me the invoice. You're not even putting on fucking any extra for yourself. Just literally being as straight as you could be with it. And yeah, got me the best quote possible to go in, and they'll knock it out in a couple of days. Like, but even just like, it's very easy for anyone to pay that money. This is the house you should buy. Get their commission or get their money out of it quick. And next year you're left with a piece of shit, like, where you have major damp issues. You're getting tradesmen come in that are not carrying out the full repairs in the job. Like, I'm very, very lucky to be to be a part of this, like, where I have a proper team behind me. Like,
That's the thing is it's a team effort in terms of if you've got the right crew, if you like, right. So you need people. If you want to pull this off, you need people like, who's the players, right? You've got your guy that wants to buy it, which is you. You've got your expert that needs to find it, which is me. You've got your team that manage it which is like the management company. You've got the refurbishment crew that go in and do it and know what a job needs to be done in which way. And you've got your solicitors that you need. You've got your mortgage brokers that you need. And you've got all that comes together to make one result. And then what you do is once that result's complete, you put it out and then you start generating the revenue. And that's where the management team get that constant return. But it's a team effort. And a team effort, any team, everything's relationships. So like your guys that done that job, they're not going to have a relationship with him anymore. They've burnt their bridges.
Yeah.
And what you need someone, like trust is difficult to gain, hard to keep, and very easily broken.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have a situation where you're breaking trust, because if you get trust and you develop trust, it's there's nothing stronger than that. You know, you're not needing to go through and jump through hoops, because the reason that things like due diligence are a thing is because people are untrustworthy.
Yeah.
When you get people that are trustworthy and that they're looking after you, that's when you just unlock all the power that's within there. And things like yourself and Kev and a few others that are part of that sort of top tier group, where they're getting access to things that the general public wouldn't get access to. Right? But that's because you've developed a relationship where you're getting you're getting to see these things first.
Yeah, well, obviously for Kev even, okay, never met you, never spoken to you on the phone, and he's going for me. Do you get me? Like, so he's taken my word gospel, like, right? I'm telling him this is not going to fuck you about. You've never met him in person, only spoken on the phone or email, but like I'm telling him, you're going to be looking after, like, this side is going to do everything. Even there, like, you know, getting paid for the thing, and you said, look, I want to waste no fucking time here. You got ahead, got the boys even crack on even before they were even, you know, there was money on the table, we'll say. Mm-hmm. You start getting the work done, you know? And I think that takes away, if you go back to what we talked at the very, very start, where you're like, Mary, Nora, John going around the circle, or you're getting Mary to do the plaster, and you're getting John to wire it, you're getting thing. You're finding the quickest way to the exit line. You're getting out the park the quickest way, because when you're only concentrating with one person, you're only talking to one person. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it makes everything move a lot quicker, where if you're trying to get the plaster to line up with the plumber and the plumber to line up with the thing, it's very, very rare that that'll all go smoothly together. And it's frustrating and it's stressful for especially someone that's not even in the country. It's very, very stressful. But to have someone that'll just go in and just do the whole thing, it takes all the stress out of it. It for, like, all I can say to anyone is, when you have a proper team and you're involved in a proper group, we'll say, or community, or whatever we want to call it, all you have to do is make sure that you have the money, and everything else will just go literally without a headache. That's the only word I can put it, without a headache.
Well, that's the thing is like there's a lot of people out there that are good at making money.
Yeah.
Yourself and Kev are good at making money. Do you have the time and wherewithal to go and sit and work out all the different nooks and crannies of this thing remotely from another country, and trying, or, you know, it's too difficult. You go, look, if the time and effort that you spend is way, you're better spending that making money doing what you're good at.
Yeah.
And then paying somebody, you know, a small fee, relatively speaking, to the value of their experience. You pay them a small fee to go and tackle that for you. Right, sure, it'll be easy for them, but it'd be hard for you. Why make it hard for you when you can just get them to make it look easy?
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
It is, like, and as I said, after the podcast I had with you, a lot of people got on to me and were like, surely to God it couldn't be that easy. I was like, it is that easy. It is that simple. It's as easy as just being, I suppose, put your money where your mouth is. If you're interested, put down the money.
Yeah. And
they're like, oh yeah, but I'm bidding $6,000, and what if they can't find a property straight away? I said, it's not find a property straight away, man. I said, I guarantee you, by the end of the week, if you give him money on a Monday, and he goes out, more than likely to have a place for you within an hour. But if he goes out, he can find 5, 10, 20 properties that suit your budget. And he'll put them in for you and say, right, look at this one here, great property, great location, but maybe needs 20 grand spent on it. But you're going to be getting, like you said, 20 grand equity, 30 grand equity if you do this refurb. Or we have this here, which is 45 grand. That property is never going to make much more than that, but we can get in and out with a 10, 15 grand refurb, and you're going to be getting your £1,400 a month. As long as you know that when you do go to sell it in the future, if that is your plan, you're not going to earn any more. Do you get me? Like, but to have that expertise where you have availability to all these estate agents that know you on a first name basis, you have their personal mobile number, they have your personal mobile number, and you're chit-chatting all the time. To me in Ireland, on Zoopla, all that flat down in fucking, what they call that place where the dock is in Glasgow, is it Port Glasgow. Jeez, that flat, a couple of windows burned. That one, alright, maybe went on fire at one point, but look at this flat, man, it looks fucking great. I'm going to buy it. You ring up that estate agent, he doesn't give a fuck about you or give a shit about you. As long as you're going to pay this money, he does not care. So then you buy it and you're like, oh, that's great. No, I'm going to have to fly over to Glasgow and Google an electrician. Oh, yeah, man, no hassle. I'll go down and wire for you. Send me $5,000 there just to get things rolling. And he's a new mobile number. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like, these are the things that happen if you get caught being remote. Like, you have to be involved with a right team. And like, this is even crazy. And even me and you hadn't even spoke about this now, right? Because this is probably going to be a haul for you. So Frank, my neighbour, originally from Nigeria, living across the road from me, this lad, he goes everywhere with me. Like, I have him on my garage insurance. He drives for me. We go everywhere, right? He lived in South Africa for, I think he was there maybe 9 years. And he was over there on holidays. Well, not really holidays, visiting some family of his wife, because she's originally South African. And he's down on Airbnb. So he's watched my podcast. He's my African hype man. He's promoted me all over Nigeria, everywhere, man. They have got my podcast. They've watched it 5-6 times. His son has put my podcast, me and your podcast, in on a school just to show that someone that had no education, how they can turn around. He's done a project on it, like. And cool. It's savage, like, absolutely fucking unreal. And he's like, Jesus, you know what? He said, my mate, he's my neighbour, he does Airbnb over in Scotland, he's in Ireland, and you're one. He said, who owns the property? And she goes, it's actually belonging to a Nigerian guy. So where he's from, he's Igbo is his tribe, like he's down near the Cameroon area of Nigeria, but the guy actually was Igbo, so he's from the same tribe that Frank would be from, you know? And he's like, what kind of return are you going to get on this? And even that, he made that contact for me. And I was just asking her, I said, like, what kind of return would you get? And what way can you do it? So the way over in South Africa is, and you suppose you can do, a lot of people do it even here, is where they can do a rent to rent, where you can do a year lease where you take on the lease for a year. So this is mad now. Me and you even have this chat now. This is the first time you're hearing this. So to rent a place in South Africa, this is in Sandton City. It's just outside Johannesburg. But it's not far from Soweto, where Nelson Mandela was from. It's a hot cake for, as Frank, hot cake is in my head now. It's a hot place for tourists. So people come from Europe, people come from other parts of Africa, Australia, New Zealand, wherever, America. They go to Sandton City, where it's a very, very safe part of South Africa. You know, like, as in, you know, if you're down where Frank originally went to was Hillsborough, which was back in the 80s and the 90s, was like, this was like 70s, 80s, 90s. This is where all the white people, when the apartheid was at its most, this was like premium places, skyscrapers, extraordinary looking buildings. But then when the whole thing went, everything started to change. And Frank said, this is where you get hustled. Do you get me? This is where whatever you were looking for, you were going to get it here. Like when he arrived there, he had to actually put the money in his trouser, because the people had rented a hotel room, sublet it to all these other different people. You were going to get robbed at night unless you kept the money on you. So Sandton City is a hot cake. So you'd rent it out for 1 month as 25,000 rand. So I was looking it up, and it was about €1,800 for 1 month. But every night that'll make 2,500 rand. And they're renting it out for about 80 to 90% a month. Like, your one done the figures, your one works there. She's South African, but she actually is a co-host for the Nigerian guy, because he lives in, I don't know if he's in Nigeria, maybe he's in Europe or wherever he is, but she's actually the person that manages, she organises all the cleaning and all the thing, and it's great to hear how other people do it. Do you know where I come from? Like, but I said to Frank, I said, geez, man, that sounds really interesting. I said, would you give me the number? So he got me the number, and I actually contacted her, and she'd done all the figures in it. So if you work out that you could actually go to South Africa, you know, and you have someone there that you could put 1,800 quid down, and you could make $2,000 after everything was paid. You know, it just shows that in other parts of the world, there's other ways of doing it. Like, and for Frank, like, when he was listening to me, and he could be with me, and he would listen to me on the phone, and he said, Jesus Christ, you know, he said, when I go to South Africa, I must have a look. So it's just mad to see that there's other ways of the world that people can do Airbnb. You know, it's not just in Scotland. You know, for some of your viewers that are maybe in India, or they're in, again, South Africa, or they might be anywhere. You know, there is other ways of doing it. Like, and like that, because I'm always watching property shows, Airbnb shows, all this, and I'm watching people like this English couple, and they're actually living in Santon City in South Africa, and that's what they do. They've bought their first property, but they've been doing like literally a year's lease. So they actually take it for a year. There's no complications. There's no, like with the law that's over there, if the owner decides, you know what, I'm going to sell it, he can sell it. Mm-hmm. He has to sell it in a year. You know, there's no kicking you out the way the law is done over there. Like, but it's just bizarre when you look at the ways of other people do business. It's nuts.
That's cool.
Yeah, really, really cool. Like, really cool to see.
So what sort of content do you enjoy watching then, when you're like, you seem to like the hustle and the getting a hashtag deals? What sort of type of content gets you going when you're looking at these property stuff?
Well, look, you probably know at this point because I'm sending them all to you. So this is what it comes up on my phone now. Anything to do with mindset. Denzel Washington, I've heard nearly every kind of quote he can give when he's talking about words of wisdom, you know?
Yep.
Literally, Jackie Chan, any of these people that have anything to say with mindset, that's come up on my phone. As I said, I'm subscribed to every kind of property channel you can imagine in the UK, now South Africa, looking at all these, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, it's mad. So, like, I remember sending you one, Fontaine Brothers. They better give me a shout out now because I mentioned them so much. I'm like a promo man for them today. Yep. And I sent you even one of theirs, and you're like, fuck me, man. He's wearing a 700-pound jumper. I was like, what the fuck, a 700-pound jumper? And when I went on and looked at it, I was like, yeah, Moncler hoodie, 700 quid. And you're like, you know, they're more like, why do you like this kind of, you know, content? Like, why aren't you watching, we'll say, the boys in their Armani suits, etc.? And I was like, I don't know, I just kind of feel like I can relate to them, where they're workers, like they're lads that are working, they're trying, as Frank says, they're out, they're trying every day, they're trying to build a community, you know, they're trying to get, I just like that everyday person that's out selling stuff. Instead of seeing the lad arriving up with the Range Rover and the slacks and the tie and all the rest, I love seeing the people that are just coming from the ground up. Like, that's the type of stuff I like. I like seeing the lads that are getting, like, buying houses, turning them over, you know, lads that are just filming themselves, just posting it, anything like that. I love seeing properties that are coming from nothing, you know, flipping them. That's the kind of stuff I'm into. Like, I really, really enjoy
why do you enjoy it?
I just love seeing something that maybe got a hard life that just needed a hand, you know. So I love seeing something that's just maybe a really good property, got a bad tenant in, and was able to turn it into something really, really good, whether either make a service apartment of it, a long-term let, or flipping it. I just love seeing the end result where they maybe bought it for like 50 grand in Birmingham, after putting about 30 grand into themselves, and now it's, you know, £160,000 house, and they sell it and they're moving on to the next one. I do follow these ads. Another one I do follow is a guy over in Detroit in America. So I don't know you where, like, with America and Detroit, like, where when all the riots happened back in the 60s and all this, where people were just wanted more money, they burned down sections of the factories, and they thought, oh, we'll burn them down, they're going to build them up. That didn't happen. So GM, Chrysler, all these companies like, fuck this, Ford, they want to burn them down sound. We're going to go somewhere else. They went to Canada, they went to Mexico. So, like, where you go down, you can go down like Millionaires Road, I think is one of them, where all these millionaires are living massive, massive houses, like unbelievable. Like something you'd see out down in London, you know, really, really mind-blowing houses. And they were just left, and they were gone derelict, and there was trees growing through them and all this. And there's a guy up there where he's buying these for off like the Detroit estate and buying them for 5 grand. And next thing he's throwing like 40 grand into them, turning them around, maybe changing a house that was a 6-bedroom into like a 4-bedroom flat. I love watching that stuff. I love seeing how you can take something that maybe got neglected, give it a bit of a hand, and how you can turn it into something, a different way of making money. Like even I watched a guy the last day, and he bought a house, and it was a shop at the bottom and apartments on the top. And he turned the bottom part into like similar to this, like a studio for doing podcast. He rented out, and the other part then he just had it like as an office, and then he had the other flats. There was like 2 real big flats at the top, and he split them into 4. So there were 4 studio flats, and just showing how cleverly he was able to buy this flat. It was like a house for like, I think it was like 170,000 pounds somewhere in the Midlands, and he was able to convert that into what's making maybe 5,000-6,000 pounds a month.
Yeah,
that's the stuff I love. I love seeing that kind of
buzz.
Stuff. Love it, man. Love it. I love seeing other people making money. I love seeing things. I watch the ones of cars. There's always ones obviously of cars I'm watching. Matt Armstrong, the lad where, you know, he bought that Manchester United's Rolls Royce there, now he's doing it. It was worth, your man gets 700 grand for it. He only did 1,000 miles and crashed it, and then he's after buying it and he couldn't get the parts, so he ended up to buy another Rolls Royce to scrap it to fix this one. You know, that's what I'm saying. I love seeing the rough and tumble. I love seeing the working and how people can do stuff, I suppose, is the right thing. Like, I don't like seeing where they're at a convention, all these people are there, fucking buzzwords, everyone's shouting, you know, like America, they're running, woo, hands in the air kind of shit.
Yeah.
Don't like it. I don't like it because everyone is all buzzed up. Everyone has thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to go out, I'm going to do this. And then the lights turn off and they're on their own, and, you know, they're emailing people saying, oh, look, I'm after paying £600 to be in your course for 2 days, and, you know, no one's getting back to me. Your £600 is gone. It's like the lad paying the 7,800. It's so easy to get caught. And when you're looking online and you're looking at this kind of content, it always pops up and you see where all these people are saying, right, look at, I'm number one doing property. I'm this, I'm that. I'm selling this course. I sent you one actually the last day. And the lad was in Monaco, and he said, look at, he said, like, I have this yacht and I have this, and if you pay this much money, I'll fly out to Monaco and you can have a 1-to-1 with me. Okay, like, if you have 1-to-1, then what? Like, what happens after you have the 1-to-1? You know, like, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. Like, you need someone that you can actually bounce off. Like, for me, and I'm in Scotland now, like, we'll say, invested in Scotland for 9 years. I ring you maybe I could ring you 10 times in one day, and I might ring you 5 times in a week. You know, it's with different things that, you know, that might be coming up, or I might need to get repairs, or I might need to see something I need to get done. Do you know, like, with the lad in Monaco, like, you're after paying him £12,000 for a course, and you're going to be putting in a bucket, and if he picks out your name, you're going to have a 1-to-1 with him. Nonsense, like, absolute nonsense.
Not for you, that.
Not for me. No, like, even there's a lady that, to be honest, and she showed this block, I'd say it was like a council built houses back in the 50s, 60s. It looked that type of a place. And she said, I own that house at the end, the normal Joe soap. And actually, this is one thing I'm going to mention, because this is a really, really good one. You had a podcast on it. But she said, I had that house. The average person, what they want to do is they want to just pay off their mortgage straight away and have that house. I refinanced that house. I took the money out, and then she turns the camera around, and there's a brand new set of flats being built right beside the house. She said, I'm after buying one of these flats with the deposit that I got from refinancing this house, and it's going to make me £24,000 a year. Okay? I'm thinking, this is in fucking Manchester. There's council houses all around it. And yes, these are brand new flats. What kind of rent are these people going to be paying? Like, she didn't say if it was a short term or a long term let, like, but what kind of rent are these people going to be paying that she has £24,000 profit after everything? It just doesn't add up, like.
Yeah, something looks a bit strange.
Doesn't it, like? And, like, going back to that one where said most people pay off their mortgage away. And that is one thing I will say. That was one thing that I had in my head before, going back to the start of this conversation. And I said that, you know, I had in my head, fuck mortgages, just going to buy it out, try to get whatever I can get for my money, whatever kind of shite it is, I'm going to buy it. But it's not worth it. Like, so speaking with the mortgage people, I get a fixed rate for 2 years of 5.6%, right? I'm going to be paying, it's an 80 grand purchase, 20 grand deposit, 60 grand for the house. I'm going to be paying £213 or £214 a month for 2 years. After 2 years, the rate could go up to, like, I think it's like 7% or 8%, or I can refinance it, so remortgage it maybe with a different company, get a lower rate, or I can pay off the balance, so I can pay the 60 grand. So that house that I buy for 80, 90,000 pound, I can keep the rent coming in, and in 2 years' time I say, right, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to pay it off. I have the money coming in, I'm just going to pay it off. Yeah. Or I can go down and say, right, I'm actually going to contact the mortgage broker I'm going to use, or I'm going to contact a different one and say, what kind of deal can I get over the next 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, whatever option you want to pick.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I would say I definitely wouldn't do it, because if I could have got the mortgages, I'm after paying out 65 grand there now with stamp duty and all that one in Balloch. That's 3 deposits.
That's exactly right.
That's 3 properties. Do you get me?
I know what you mean.
Obviously, you're the one that told me about it. But you get me, like that? I'm after limiting myself.
Yep.
this other one I'm after buying now is going to cost me nearly 60
And
grand.
that's the beauty of untangling the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
Exactly.
like,
So
look,
I wasn't using that because that one in Balloch, that's 3 deposits. The one I'm after buying there in Baileystown, is that Baileystown? Baileystown. Another 60 grand. 3 deposits. That's 6 properties. 6 properties that could, I know there's 6 properties, but then spend, we'll just say, quick math, spend 10 grand on each of them. 60 grand down for all the refurbs, right? Do you get me? So if you used Balloch for 3 deposits, then use the other one for some refurbs and some leftover, you could end up having 4 houses, 4 furnished, the whole lot, and maybe bringing in 1,800, 2 grand a month on each one.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of having the mortgage. Unfortunately, I haven't just got there yet, but if it happens, watch out.
When it happens.
When it happens, exactly.
Yeah.
When it happens, watch out, because that is what will bring you from here to there.
Well, that's the power of leverage.
Time.
I mean, this is the thing is that you're leveraging what you have and you're using the tools of leverage properly.
Yeah.
And that's the key difference is when you know how to use them, it's a real art.
Yeah, but getting to that industry is like, if you look at doing a short-term let there, we'll just say, we'll call it £500 a month, and you're taking out £220 a month for your mortgage. Like, you are making some money, but you're looking at 3 grand a year instead of maybe
one repair, one boiler to wipes out your repair.
Because they're one in Coatbridge there now that I have that's on a long-term let, like the boiler went £1,300.
Yep.
£1,300 for the boiler to get in and get it replaced.
Yep.
And that flat is making £410 a month.
So you've just wiped out 3.5 months worth
4 months.
4 months of
rent
money gone.
Just gone that.
Just on a repair.
Yeah.
So what's we started with why you were here, and that was that you came back to have these goals, and the goals you'd set for 4 years away, and now 3 months later the goals are smashed.
Yeah.
We've dialed them in. I predicted it. I says you better.
You said book your flight. Yeah.
I said, just book a flight because this isn't. I'm
going to see you soon.
I says I'm not going to set the precedent that I'll see you in 4 years. I'll be seeing you in months.
Yeah.
And it's done. So what's next for you?
So this is the thing. See, with the mortgages. If the mortgages go ahead, obviously that's the route I'm going to be going down. I'm going to change my strategy, as you want to call it. I'm going to be changing that because instead of just exhausting all my money into one property, I'm going to be hoping to be able to use that money, as you said, to leverage against more. And obviously, since the last podcast even, and now we can see the type of property I'm buying, I'm looking for a different type of property. I'm not looking for the ones that are, you had your pyramid and you're going down, and then you had this little line at the bottom of the pyramid, literally a line, which was the ones where I was looking for. I'm not going to be looking for that type of property. I'm going to try to get the mortgage sorted and go from there. So
Dave's referring to a part of my property courses about the property pyramid, which shows you the types of property you buy, and at the bottom was the stuff that he was aiming for, and that was that you would buy this stuff and it wouldn't really go up much in value. You would get a return out of it.
Decent
return, but it's never ever going to go anywhere. And then you get the ones at the top that are never going to get you a great return, but they could double or triple in price. And then you've got all the ones in between that make up the rest of the pyramid. But you are moving up the pyramid in big ways.
Yeah.
So
definitely,
it's good. It's good to see. But what's the plan next? So what's your goal for the future?
See, it all depends. It all depends on when they give me the mortgage. And that's it. Like, if they give me the mortgage.
But it's looking good. So if they give you the mortgage, and what's your plans?
I'll put another 20 on it.
20,
30 more by 40.
By 40.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a goal.
Yeah.
20 more properties in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Provided everything goes well, I'll definitely have a lot more. But if I get the mortgage and I can get that opportunity to use leverage and all that, that's what I'm aiming for. 1,000,000%. Mm-hmm. It's to get that. It's just to get that. I'm nearly there. Nearly there. I can see it. I just need another little bit. Hopefully, by the end of the week, they'll have rang me and said, yeah, all's good to go.
What about your own properties over back home? How are they doing?
Yeah, so really, really good. So the one would say that I hadn't done any goal. That when I bought that, it was in a bad part of town, where It was ran by Romanians, drug dealers, prostitutes, everything. Like when you said, "Oh, where's your property?" Riverside. They're like, "Oh," I was like, "Why?" Like this before I even knew like thing. They're like, Jesus, how are you going to rent that out? Like no one will go down there. It was probably one of the biggest places on a Saturday night. Like there was a road right off the main street straight in here. Like this place was hopping on a Saturday night with lads going in helping themselves for the Saturday night. Like, but now things are moving, things are shifting. Then people are getting out, the place getting nicer. So the rent is actually after doubling. So in January, I was getting, would say in January 2020, I was getting 400 a month after everything's paid. Now I'm getting 825 a month after everything's paid. So it just shows that sometimes when you do buy in an area what might frighten someone, the way things can shift. You know, like how things can go. Athlone are my ones there. Again, Beirut. Like people were afraid to drive into this place at night. Do you know what I mean? Like I remember being on holidays 2014 and I was after buying the place and I said, I just bought a place in Athlone. He's like, where is it? And I was like, Meadowbrook. And he's like, it's hardly Willow Park, is it? And I was like, I don't know. I think it's Meadowbrook's the address. And he looked it up and he said, you didn't fucking buy a place in there. And I said, I did. The cheapest house that was ever sold in Ireland was sold in that for $5,000.
Was it?
Yeah. Like it was just so rough. Like it was so rough that people were leaving the houses. People were going in and robbing the lead and everything out of the roof. And they were just throwing their garbage from the roof down.
Goodness me.
Like it was just like carnage. But like again, things have started to shift. Students are looking for accommodation. They're taking it and the rents again have skyrocketed in there. Like when 2015, that house would be lucky to get 500. Like 500 was high rent in there. Mm-hmm. That now you wouldn't get a place in there for 1,300-1,400 quid.
Wow.
Do you know?
In difference.
In 10 years. Like that's massive.
That's massive.
Massive return. Then I'm at the Airbnbs where I'm just constantly trying to make it better and better. Whatever money comes in, I'm literally just leaving it there, putting it back into it, trying to get it nicer. And like, if you look at it from when I started to now, it's massive differences. Like
I've seen some of the pictures. It's looking good.
Oh yeah, looking lovely. Like looking. The
concrete looks nice.
I love concrete. No weeds will come up through that. You have to have a bit of concrete in it. Like so, yeah. No, it's coming out really, really nice. I have the main house. I have them on booking.com. Like I have the main house that's done. Just after putting a new porch on it. Mm-hmm. The small apartment just after doing all the front of it with all like stone. I've done stone on the front of the main house, and then there's like a bigger apartment in it. Which there was a guy living there. He was there 17 years. 17 years he was in there, and like it was so hard for me. I didn't kick him out or anything like that, right? But just luck would happen. The cleaner that cleans the Airbnb for me, her friend was looking for a car. She gave her my number. We're just chatting, and she said, if you know anyone looking for an apartment, their house is split into 2 levels, so they're living on the bottom, but on the top is apartment that they're renting out. She said, I'm looking for just, all I want is one person. If you know someone, a single person, I don't want people coming and going because, you know, the power and the heating is all shared, and I don't want them to be abusing that fact. And I said, fuck me, I actually have a guy. So I spoke to him. Imagine he lived in Ireland 17, 18 years and his English is chronic. He's Lithuanian. So I spoke to his daughter and I said, look, I'm selling a car to someone. She has a really, really nice apartment. It's the same rent that he's paying me over there. So if he can go there and if he's happy, he can go. If he doesn't want to move, that's fair enough. But I said he will have to leave by July because I wanted to do work on his house, and with him staying in it, it was holding up the rest of the project where I could get, concrete and done, get my shingle down, get bits and pieces. So it was really, really holding it up. So it worked out lovely. So I have the guy there now at the moment, and he's actually, we're just putting a little bit of an extension on the front, like nothing, just to make a bit more light coming in and bits and pieces like that. But it's really, really taking shape. Like it's unbelievable. Like,
well, good. It's good to touch base with you and recap and go over what you've been up to since the last episode.
Yeah.
It's good to see that you've upped your goals. That was a big change. And flying on the Scottish service department scene, we've got you there. The target was set for 4 years. It was achieved in 3 months. So that's a testament for the power of your mindset, the power of what you focus on, how you want to spend your life, and what are you prepared to do to get there. You've shown up for all the mindset calls. You've been the one that's been there every time, showing up, taking part, and your results are showing that through and through, that subliminally you don't know how much you've improved, but I've literally witnessed the change in 3 months of seeing you go from the way that you were then and the way that you seen things, to you just opening up, and you've went from strength to strength. And the person that's least surprised that you've hit your goals in that time is me, because I've had the front row seat seeing how that change is taking place in you. So it's been great to hear about how that's unravelled in such a quick time, to seeing this new sort of version, new and improved Dave 2.0 that's getting after it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your buddies that were listening to the episode will be even more amazed that you've spent the time in your mindset, you spent the time in your goals, you've opened your mind to different possibilities, you've pursued them, and you've got the fruits of the rewards. Yeah. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure having you on and going over your story, and I'm sure we'll get you on again next time you're over to get the update.
Yeah, so see what's happening.
Thanks for taking the time to come on and tell us all the stories, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, George.
So we hope you've enjoyed this week's episode of Conversations with an Investor. Dave, the twists and turns continue. Just when you think that he's dialed in, he just goes up another level and a notch. That's a testament to what he's been able to do. Certainly from my point of view, it's something that doesn't come as a surprise, because I've seen how he's developed in such a short period of time. And if you're stuck in a rut and you don't like the results that you're getting, take a leaf out of Dave's book. If you want a format on how to do it, then we're over there in Mount Mindset. We're taking people that are in reverse gear and we're showing you how to change that and get into first gear and start moving through your life. Follow the link below if you want to join our Mindset community that Dave's been a part of since day one. If you like his results, then stand by for the follow-up episode after this. We're on all social media channels. Be make sure to give us a follow, comment on any of the clips. And that's for us this week. That's a wrap.